Hello and welcome back to Spivey Talks. This is just a few moments from the previous video, which I need to go back and edit and change what it's titled as well as the thumbnail picture. I don't do well at clickbait, but I'm working on it. So, if you're still with me, thank you, thank you. So trying to make up for lost time as well as give you a story time because I haven't really given you many good stories this month about my past. So. I'm going to tell you a story I don't believe I did yet. So this will be a bit long. If you're not interested in a long story, you may want to click away. If you do want to hear things, you may want to skip in. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so in high school, we I went to a high school in Georgia. Okay, and it was relatively small. Okay, everybody that lived in the area just walked down one main street, made a right, and there is two schools. It was the high school and the middle school. Or was it elementary? Middle school. It was the middle school. Middle school and high school right next to each other, almost connected. Okay, that's how small it was. So we go to school, have our fun, stuff like that. Well, one at some point, some people moved in the street behind me. Okay, and the daughter of the family that moved in, the oldest daughter, was okay. Not mind you, it's a white family. Okay, and I know, don't think that I'm just trying to go racist, but that actually plays a part in the story. So they move in. They're on a corner house. Okay, two-story house, and I stay a street behind that. Okay, now I have a friend, and he stayed maybe 9 houses down across the street from her. Okay. Um, but in between their location is a four-way stop. So, yeah, four-way stop. And at the time, I didn't know him. I was not friends with him at the time. I knew his sister and his brother, older sister, older brother, but I didn't know him, the guy. Okay. Um, but me and the girl, we'll call her Blondie. I don't know. I really suck at making these up off the top of my head. So Blondie and I are friends, and we hang out from time to time. Now, at some point, I graduated. I went to military academy, graduated early, stuff like that. And so after I graduated, I hit 18. Okay, she was 2 years younger than me. She was 16. Okay, now again, like if she and I were intimate a day before I turned 18, it would have been okay. But mind you, she and I have never, ever, ever been intimate in any kind of way. Never kissed, never seen each other naked. No. Okay. Well, actually, I think I did see her naked at one point, or at least part of her. But that's part of the story. You'll understand in a moment. But again, it's a bit blurry. It's anyway. So when I explain the story, you'll get it. So, she and I, to the point, case in point, she and I have never done anything together, never been intimate, never, blah blah blah. Okay, so the area that we lived in, it was known for statutory rape. Everybody gets hit up on statutory rape charges. Why? Because there was nothing to do but have sex where we were from, and people just didn't stop to think, let me double check your ID before you did it. Because is one of the places where the girls drinking that water or that milk, the bodies was like on point. And now, mind you, I'm not talking about like 30, 40-year-old men and 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. I'm talking like 17-year-old with a 16-year-old. The 17-year-old goes to jail for statutory. And you're like, wait, what? Yeah. Or she's 17 and he's 18. He goes to jail. Yeah, that stuff was going on. So in this particular situation, she was coming to me as a friend and saying, "Hey, can you hook me up with somebody?" No, no, I can't. Because everybody we know keeps getting hit up on these statutory charges. She's like, "Oh, well, it's not rape if it's willing." No, the law still says age. No. So I'm still telling her no. So she's always asking me to hook her up with somebody. I'm telling her no, 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 no. Okay. So on her own, she meets this other guy who I by this point became friends with. But I didn't introduce them. I didn't even know they knew each other at first. So one day, apparently they came over and knocked at the door saying, they friends. I'm like, okay, cool. And then we could all just hang out together. And so we did. We started hanging out. What ends up happening is Blondie and what should we call him? Let's call him Kevin. Okay. So Blondie and Kevin is black. Okay. So Blondie and Kevin start talking and unofficially dating. Okay. And then they started becoming intimate. Okay. So another day, and mind you, at this point, I'm 18, he's 17, and she is 16. Okay. Excuse me. So I go to college. I was going to a tech college at the time for welding, which I did graduate. All right. Anyway, so one day I don't have school. Now they're still in high school. I graduated early. Okay. And so what it was, we were hanging out at night. Okay. And from time to time, I guess she would like sneak out and hang out with him extra, like longer than they were supposed to or whatever. I don't fully know how that situation was going. But anyway, so they like, hey, we're tired. We don't feel like going to school tomorrow. Can we kick it with you? I'm like, yeah. So they come and they knock on my door the next day. Now I still stayed at home with my mother, and she was out. So it was like, okay, because I expected her to be out all day. I thought she was gonna be at work. So they come over and we're hanging out, just kicking it. Nothing serious. I'll put on TV, have a let out bed couch in the front room, and let them lay on that couch. And they fall asleep. No sex, nothing. They just literally sleep because they stayed up all night hanging out. So next thing you know, there's a car pulling up in the driveway. It's my mom. I'm like, oh shit, get up. So they get up. I'm trying to push in the fold out bed, and because it's the couch in the front room. And now this is when I was still getting into my photography and videography situation. So I had a camera stand and camera set up, and it was linked to the TV because I was experimenting with how to get the view from the camera on the TV because I didn't know. I pretty much taught myself majority of everything I know. So when she comes in, the couch isn't fully put back together. Like there's pillows and blankets and pillows. It couch pillows and then regular bed type pillows too. So she's figuring somebody had to have sex in here. So she's like, "Who in the hell has sex in my house? I'm the only one to have sex in this house. Get out." She's kicking me out, and it was a bad scene. Now they're hiding in the closet in one of the rooms. So she's like, when I get back, you and all your better be gone. Matter of fact, you got 2 trash bags. Put what you want in 2 trash bags and get out of my house, So, yeah, so I have them hop out the closet because as a true mother of the times, she was imploding on herself. I wasn't even saying anything. I'm just trying to stay out of view from her. So she's blowing up. It's like anything she says, she answers it herself and then makes it sound like I'm trying to defy her in some great or grand scheme. And so she's blowing up. She's getting more and more angry every second. As she keeps talking, she gets herself riled up. So I have them hop out a window to leave because if it gets violent, which most likely it was going to, I didn't want them to be there for it, especially not to get found in the closet. Oh, yeah. So they hop out the window, they leave, and then eventually she leaves. Okay, so I pack up my stuff in some trash bags, and I have a case, like a hard plastic case, toolbox kit that I had my original camera equipment in. Okay, and so I left. She told me to get out, so I'm homeless. So clearly, I go to his house. And I'm like, yo, she put me out, which they already pretty much knew, but I thought they I guess figured that she was just joking. No. So I go to his house, and so he's like, okay, well, cool. You can stay here for a while because basically we got you homeless. So So he's like, but first we need to clear it with, his people, because he in high school he still stayed with his mother and stepfather. So he's like, well, the house across the street, the one across from Blondie's house, is empty. So put your stuff behind there, and then we'll talk to the parents, when they get home from work. So, okay, cool. So we put the stuff behind his house, and I don't know where Blondie went, but she wasn't there with us. So he and I go for a walk. 'Cause I need to clear my head. I need to think about what I'm gonna do. I'm homeless. So we're hanging out for the day, and so okay, so as I said, they were being intimate. But this is backstory, mind you. I want to make sure we're clear on this. As I said, they were spending their nights together being intimate. I knew about it, but I wasn't there for it. Okay. Um, so now that I'm kicked out, I'm hanging at his house. So it's nighttime. And so I'm like, well, I could really use some cheering up myself. I'm homeless now. I say, well, hey, let's go over to these twins' house, so I could see about, a girl who might like me. And he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna go and still get Blondie. And now Blondie had a friend staying over who was another mutual friend, who was a little bit older, definitely a bit wilder. She was the wildest out of all of us, but still under the age of 18. Okay, so I'm the oldest person in the group. So he's like, well, we're going over here, over there. So we get up, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna stay here. You go do that. Go get your girl. If y'all are coming out, we're hanging out. Whatever, cool. He's like, nope. You stay with me. You gotta go too. Just like 8, 9 houses down. You can't go on your own. Nope. You coming with me. Okay. I don't have a choice now. So I get up. I follow with him, and he the method that they had to get her out, mind you, it's a 2-story house, and both of her parents were like security guards at a jail or something. So she previously took the ladder from their house and put it behind that empty house. So he goes behind the empty house, gets the ladder, and puts it up near the second floor balcony thing. We're on the ground floor, of course, and just puts it up. Now, her Blondie and the other girl, we'll call her Wild One. Blondie and Wild One are supposed to come out on like from the second floor on like the little balcony type situation, and then just get on the ladder and come down. Makes common sense. So it's night. And they're on the corner, so there is one street light. And what do you wear when you're sneaking out? Just for my own sake, what do you wear? You wear black. You're sneaking somewhere. You wear black. Why are these girls wearing gray? Why are these girls acting like they're drunk or high or whatever? They were intoxicated in some form. At least that's how they were acting, because they were loud and they were taking forever. I swear it took like 30 minutes for them to decide to get down. At one point, they came out onto the roof. The little yeah. Anyway, they came out onto the roof. The roof thing is black, so of course you would think they would wear black. No. And so like when cars come down the street because they're taking so long, we hide behind trees. Me and him just hide behind trees, just stand there. We're already black. We're in the shadow, you know. So we hide in the shadow, and they're on the roof. When the car comes, instead of balling up or just being still and silent, these jackasses spread out like fucking snowmen. They arms out, legs out, spread wide on the roof. Two snowman type gray figures on a black roof with a corner light flash shining on them. Nobody ever said that the situation was smart. I just need you to know that. Okay. So eventually they get to the ladder and they start coming down. Now, just so you're aware, across the street, literally across the street in one house over, was a young woman who was very tomboyish at the time. Okay. Now, Blondie and this girl did not really get along. Actually, they had become enemies at first. You know, apparently the tomboy had a crush on Blondie and it didn't work out or something to that effect. So tomboy, I thought was a friend of mine. Okay, apparently not. So as it turns out, tomboy called the police saying that just to get some stuff started, called the police saying that well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. We believe that it was tomboy who called. We don't know for a fact who it was they called, but it was from one of those houses. Anyway, we'll get to that. So they finally get off the ladder, and me and what do we call him? Kevin. Me and Kevin um, get up to leave. We're gonna walk away. Now I'm like, hey, bump this. They gonna get us caught. I'm out of here. So I haul ass and I go across the street. Um, where my stuff is, check on it. It's there. He puts the ladder down, and we cross back to the other side of the street and we're in front of his house. We are literally because there's no sidewalks. This is Georgia, and for whatever reason, there are no sidewalks in a great deal of Georgia. It's so stupid. So it's just street grass. Period. There's no sidewalk. Okay. So we're in front of his house, and two people, while we were right before we got this house, two people walked by us, going the other direction. So like, okay. Now it's just me and Kevin. Okay, I don't know where the two girls went. They disappeared when I was like when they feet hit the ground. I hauled ass. I was like, I'm out. Fuck this. So we're in front of his house, and the two people went by us the other way. Next thing you know, we're standing here on his lawn, okay, and his house is back here where my microphone is, okay. So we're in front of his house. There's a cop that runs around the corner and comes in front of us, and there's a cop that comes around the other side of the street behind us, and another cop from the other side of the four-way street behind us as well. And they hop out, and they got their lights, and they're searching everywhere. They don't say nothing to us. They just searching everywhere, and I mean, it happens so fast. We're sitting there like this. You would think that it was some kind of SWAT operation. So we don't know what's going on. Our minds, or at least mine. I can't speak for his, but my mind is so far gone. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what they're looking for. Because at this time we did have, or the year prior, there was a lot of people making homemade drugs and stuff in that area. So like it became illegal, or it became a big issue just to buy like cough syrup and stuff. So you had to have ID to buy more than 2 boxes of cough syrup at the drugstore. It's like what? Yeah. Anyway, so we don't know what's going on, and one cop finally comes over to us. This is maybe 30 seconds in after so many cops have popped out and just lights and rummaging through like yards and stuff. Comes to us, so what are y'all doing out here? And we're like, nothing. It's like, where y'all going? Nowhere. He lives right here. We're at his house. um, and so they're like, have you seen anybody walking? Yeah, two people just went by. Like we still don't know what's going on. We're freaking out. Like what is going on? Um, and so we're just standing there, right? And next thing you know, they're like, well, one cop comes out, and behind him we see the two girls, and they're wrapped in a blanket. So apparently, when the ladder was put down and me and him left them, they were slowly following behind, but so slow enough that they hid behind somebody's house when the cops came around the corner, and because they were still on the other side of the street completely, and like a few houses down. So, and they were just sitting there like on the blanket smoking cigarettes, waiting for the cops to leave apparently. And so when the cops found them, then the cops made them come out to the front to the streets. So they're like, "Hey, do y'all know them?" And Kevin is like, "Nah, we don't know them." I'm like, "Yes, obviously we know them. That's Blondie and friend." Like, we all go to, we all went to the high school, and clearly we all live in the same neighborhood. It's It's like it was common sense. Our school was that small. It's not like you could say you don't know somebody. But he was like, "No, no, we don't know. They stay a few houses down from you. Like, come on." So anyway, he was like, "Are y'all with them?" No, not with them. Don't know what's going on. Literally, again, in front of his house. We're just hanging out in front of his house. Well, you know, there's a curfew. Okay, I'm 18. He's 17. What's the problem? So they was like, well, come over here. They put us in the back of a cop car. So um, they find my stuff, because being kicked out behind the empty house, and my stuff is my camera equipment. So and as we're in the back of the cop car, I look and I see that they turned the camera for the cop car and it's facing us. And so he's freaking out. He's like, "Oh God, they about to get us." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Get us for what? We haven't done anything. Before you get here and saying stupid stuff, we ain't did nothing. Walking down the street is not a crime. Can't set a curfew. I'm 18. You're with me. Parents' permission. No problem there." Like, "Oh, well, what about the girls?" They were clearly across the street and behind, like, houses down the street. That has nothing to do with us, which it didn't. I don't have anything to do with them behind that house smoking. I didn't even know they were doing it. So, eh. Bad day is worse, mind you. So he's like, "Okay, well, here, take this." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you trying to give me?" He's like, "Take this lighter." I'm like, "Why aren't you holding your own lighter?" He's like, "I don't want them to catch it on me." Okay. So I take the lighter. We get to the police station. They put us all in these little bitty cells. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. They put me and him in cells. The two girls, they don't put in cells. So, and I can hear everything in my cell. I don't know if that's the way it was built or if it's just to mess with me, or I don't know. But I can hear everything. I can hear the other cells and I can hear what the police are doing out there and who they're talking to. So they're talking to the girls. Okay. So they asked the girls together, like, "Hey, um, are you?" If they asked them first about me, because I'm the oldest. So they say, "Hey, Blondie, are you having sex with Spivey?" She's like, "Hell no." And I'm like, "That's right. We ain't never, nothing." And they're like, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, we ain't never. Hell no." So at this point, I'm a little offended at, like, how strongly and adamant she is about it, but it's true. So we didn't do anything. So, like, whatever. So they turn to the friend, and the friend, they're like, "Hey," she's like, "Fuck no." I'm like, again, I'm happy, but at the same time, I'm a little hurt. Like, there's that thin line between happy that the truth is out that we ain't never with none of them, but at the same time, the way that they're saying it, it hurt the heart. So anyway, so then, like, okay, well, does he take pictures of you? Yeah. Like, does he take pictures of you naked? No. Like, he's a photographer. It's what he does. He's like, "Oh, well, we found camera equipment." Yeah, he got kicked out today. All of his crap was behind that house. What's your point? And they're like, "Well, we're going to check it to see if there's any child porn or whatever on it." I'm sitting there like, "What? Y'all done lost y'all damn mind." So, okay, there's nothing on me so far. So far. So they then turn to the girls and say, "Hey, what about Kevin?" So the friend answers first. The friend is like, "No." Then they turn to Blondie. "Blondie, what about Kevin?" She's like, "Oh yeah, me and Kevin get down." She told them the days that they did it, like for like the last month or so. She told them every single day, everything they did, how often they did it. I'm sitting there like, "Oh, he is so fucked." So okay, so they turn to him. They go to him, and I can hear them go to his cell. They're like, "Hey, you been messing with Blondie?" And he's like, "Yeah." They're like, "What you did?" He was like, "I let her give me some head." She's like, and I'm paraphrasing. They're like, "Did you smash?" He's like, "Nah, I just let her give me some head. That was it." Okay, so that you're aware, oral sex is still illegal. Moving on. So he's like, yeah, just give me some head. So they come to me. I don't know shit about nothing because I ain't seen nothing. No, don't ask me nothing. I ain't did nothing. So they take me, they don't ask me in the little cell thing. They pull me into a room where it's a bunch of cops. Bunch of cops. Like you see on TV with the little lamp. Bunch of cops. They literally put the lamp on. It was on. And they're just crowded around me. Some sitting at the desk and some sitting on the desk, some leaning on the desk, just like looking like they just want to laugh at the situation. So they tell me, hey, we got you on like 9 different charges. What? Oh yeah, we got you on breaking and entering, on kidnapping, 3 counts of kidnapping. Wait a what? They like child pornography, sex with a minor, lewd and lascivious acts, and I mean they were just making, they were going to town. I'm like, wait a minute, and I mean instantly sweat is like. I remember thinking to myself like, oh shit, this is just like on TV. I am really freaking out. Like I know that this is full of BS that they're doing, but I'm really freaking out. So I'm like, hold up, hold up, hold up. I got kicked out today. That's why myself was behind that house. When y'all came, as you saw, me and him were standing in front of his house. The girls were found like 3 houses over and across on the other side of the street, behind the house, sitting there smoking. What does that have to do with us? No, like no. They said, oh, well, we got a 911 call saying that 4 black men and a hooded figure climbed up the ladder, broke into the house, and came out with these 2 girls. What? I was like, and I literally, I'm telling you, I looked down at myself and I pointed. I said, 1 black guy, he makes 2. Where are these other 2 mystery people and the hooded figure? And I can tell you point blank, and I told them, I was like, I can tell you, I did not go up no ladder into no 2nd floor, go inside nobody's house and come out with nobody. That's a lie. I was like, and Kenny, damn it, Kevin, Kevin, has, he's with me being 18. His, we hang out. His mom is totally fine with it. So that's 1 charge of kidnapping. Y'all can just throw that out. Like, no. And so there's nothing to that. They're like, oh, well, if you don't tell us the truth about what's going on, we can't help you. You gonna go down for all these charges. And I'm freaking out inside. I'm like, there's nothing to tell. I wasn't there for anything. I didn't see anything. I literally was standing because technically I was literally standing there at his house. The cops pull up and they find girls across the street. Y'all arrest us for that. Now, true. Me and you sitting here. I was there when they came out the house. But that still had nothing to do with me. I didn't even want to be there. I was forced to be there in order to have a place to doggone lay my head at night. Okay, so anyway, they end up putting me back in the cell, and next thing I know, we're being taken to jail. I got out. I ended up getting out of bail for that, but then, and so I'm out for a few days. Okay, now I'm out for a few days on bail, and I still go to school, so I'm going back and forth to the tech. And one day, like the next week, my mom comes to pick me up from there, and she's smiling ear to ear, and she's like, "Guess what?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You're going to jail." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, they called me, said I can either bring you in or they can come get you." She was like, and she's smiling ear to ear. She's like, "So what do you want for your last meal?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "What do you want?" So I'm still trying to piece together what's going on. So I'm like, whatever. So we get some snack, and she takes him to the jail. So apparently, the parents of Blondie made a new charge saying contributing to the delinquency of an unruly child. is my new charge. That's why I'm going back to jail. So I ended up going to jail, I think that time for a week, 2 weeks, something like that. I went to jail for a little bit of time for that, just sitting there in jail until getting ready for court. So go to court. Well, I get out again. I don't know if it was bond or what happened, but anyway, I got out. Now I'm home, and a detective comes to my house, and he's like, "I want you to show me where all this stuff happened." So I'm like, okay. Now, common sense tells you if you just went to jail dealing with somebody, don't deal with them. So I get in the car with the cop, the detective, and we go around the corner, because literally around the corner. And what do we see? Because I say, this is the house this is where she stays, this is where Blondie stays, and that house right there is where he stays, and that's where we were standing when the cops came. But sure enough, right in front of his house, what do we see? We see Blondie and Kevin right there in front of the house. 3, 4 in the afternoon. We just got out of jail. Like, common sense is not working for you. Okay. So in the end, go to court. Now, my situation is totally simple because clearly I didn't do none of the above. So the judge didn't even fully listen to all the stupid charges that they had trumped up against me. He was like, look, don't have any communication or contact with them because everybody acknowledges you ain't had nothing to do with none of it, and be gone. Like, get out of here. Cool. I'm happy to not get out because but my friend who openly, confessed and admitted that he, at the very minimum, allowed her to give him oral sex. He was screwed. Well, potentially screwed. There's rumors about what ended up happening, but I stopped talking to him at that point. Like, we are so done. Because I didn't want to be out here in the first place. I wanted to go and see these twins and potentially have myself a good night for the first time in a while, because I got homeless trying to be a good friend to y'all, and you made me go, and all this stuff happened. No, I wasn't with that. I didn't appreciate that. So long story short, or the rumors is, he got some serious trouble. Okay. I don't know the ending result of what happened with that, but I do know that at some point they ran away together. And back to rumor says that they crossed state lines and stuff together and went somewhere. And then that person that they went to stay with turned them in. So it came back to even more trouble because she was still underage. And this time, for whatever reason, they can choose to say you're underage if it works for their favor to try to prosecute a situation. But for this, they tried to say he was an adult, even though he's still the same age, because he was older, and this would get him in trouble. Say he took a minor across state lines without parents' permission for kidnapping, blah blah blah. So, whatever. Again, still not in it. Don't know what was legitimate about the situation. Only reason I even know that it happened is because I got a phone call from Blondie's mother. Blondie's mother calls me and says, "Hey, you have 25 minutes before we get you arrested again." I'm like, "Excuse me, who's this? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "You tell us where she's at right now, or we're reporting you and you're going to jail for breaking the rules that the judge said, no contact, blah, blah, blah." I said, "I haven't had any contact. I don't know what you're talking about." She's like, "Oh, well, we found a letter that had your first name on it." I was like, "That's a lie, because nobody in the world calls me my first name except for 3 people. And even then, they don't actually call me my real first name. And I'm talking including family. No one calls me my first name, period." So, I'm like, "You're lying. Whatever's on that paper," because Blondie didn't know my real first name, period. So she's like, "Oh, well, it's a paper here with your first name on it, and it says that you helped them to leave." Whoa. Again, goodbye. You on some bull. I'm hanging up now. Hung up. Ain't no cops coming to my door. because I ain't had nothing to do with it. Nothing. That had me heated. But yeah, I didn't have nothing to do with them. I know I did like maybe 8 years later. A good 8 years later, I did finally get in touch with Blondie again. I came across her. Was it MySpace or something? Anyway, it was on some social media situation. Um, Her and Kevin ended up having like 2 or 3 kids together, and it's an ordeal. It's an ordeal for them. But I was like, oh, okay, and bye. I like still can't because all the time, all that stuff she was talking, and this first time the cop asked her a question, she ratted on him so hard. Like all that time, she's like, "Oh, it ain't it ain't rape if it's willing." Blah 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 blah. Hook me up with a friend. I would never tell. La 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 la. Like no, and I was smart for never doing it, never hooking her up with nobody, and of course, never touching her myself. Period. No. And the only reason I say that I might have potentially saw like part of her like leg or thigh or something is because again they were in the little bed, so that's the back of how potentially even seeing any part of her body. So, but yeah, never, nothing. Not the kid. uh, so, when people, and mind you, that's not the first, I'm sorry, that is the first time that cops just tried to trump up a bunch of charges to try to screw me over in a situation. Um, but it was not the last. But that'd be a story for another time. Boy, I tell you, my life. I trade with you. Who want to trade? All right, so you have the backstory of a sexuality type situation. That one deals with the legal age to do this, or that, and how it's manipulated to make a situation far worse than what it actually was. You may have your own opinion about the guy being 17, the girl being 16, and the friend who had nothing to do with it being 18, and they tried to give me all kind of charges. So if that's why when I come across somebody who has a charge against them on the record, whatnot, I'm not as quick to judge, not knowing the details, as some people would be. You know, some people say, "Oh, you got arrested for this. You must be guilty. You must be bad. You must be blah 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 blah." Excuse me. If I hadn't been so adamant about not having done any of the things that they accused me of, which I didn't do, I didn't kidnap anybody. I didn't go up into a second floor and take people out of there. I didn't. No, none of that. None of the charges that they tried to get me for were legitimate. Was I there? Did I see what happened? As far as like them leaving their apartment? Sure. But that's not a charge they tried to give me with. Now, the contributing to the delinquency of an unruly child, you could try to say I contributed, but I kept trying to prevent her from meeting guys. I tried to prevent her from having these relations with older guys. She did not listen to me. You can't tell me I caused her to be a delinquent. She, trust me, if you know her backstory, she was well delinquent before she ever met me. If anything, I tried to straighten her out. So, but anyway, and of course, they never even gave me back my camera equipment and or any of that stuff. To this day, still never got it back. And it's been 12, 13 years, something like that. 15 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. Never got my stuff back. Of course, no child porn because I'm not doing that crazy retardedness. That's just stupid and sick. That's not me. So, but as I said, like, comment down below for those of you who made it to the end of this. And I will have some more story times because trust me, my life didn't get any better yet. So, I'm out. And I will possibly do one more video for the night, but my throat is getting a little harsh, so I need to make me a drink. All right. Like, comment, subscribe.